Hi, my name's Carmen Malini, and this is my virtual mock interview. So I would say that my grades are not a good indicator of my abilities just because school has always been hard for me. I really try my hardest, but I also have like a learning disability, so it makes school like 10 times harder for me. So I would say that my grades are not a good indicator of my abilities. I think one of the worst classmates I've ever had to work with was during a group project, and I ended up having to do the group project by myself, and it was a entire video that I had to create. But I ended up doing that on my own and just kind of writing them off and just doing it on my own. I would say applied knowledge from previous coursework to a project in another class. I took a global public health class and entomology class, and I used that material that we learned in that class to make a presentation in my animal waste management class, which was really cool. It was about black soldier flies. Um, so that was really fun. I have had to withdraw from a class, and it was because I was having a hard time mentally, but I ended up re-enrolling for the next semester and everything's good now. If I were hiring for this position, I would look for someone that is reliable, hardworking, intelligent, and flexible. Recent feedback from a teacher was that I am very smart and that I'm very good at my classwork, but I don't always apply myself sometimes. I think what interests me in the McConnell group is the research that you guys do. And I think that I could definitely bring some new ideas to some of the projects that you guys are working on. And I would really love to be a part of those. Justice. I think that justice is defined as doing the right thing and upholding that. So let's say someone cheated on a test. You have to do your justice in reporting them for the Aggie Honor Code. Like you have to do the right thing. I think a time that I was faced with problems or stresses was applying to graduate school during all of my classes and chaos that I'm going through right now. I think that it was just a lot to go through, and just the essays were crazy and finding letters of recommendations. And what I would do is I would sit at home with my dog and we would work on my grad school application together. So something on my resume that I'd like you to know more about is the fact that I love animals and I have a very extensive background in veterinary technician work. So I think that would bring of great, a lot of great new ideas to the team. I think my greatest weakness is reading scripts. I'm dyslexic, so when I'm reading scripts in a public setting, I tend to get a little nervous and stutter my words. My greatest strength would have to be my ability to keep going no matter what. Um, and then two personal accomplishments in your life. One, I would say, well, it hasn't happened yet, but I would say when I do graduate, graduating from Texas A&M, and the second one would be graduating high school with a 3.9 GPA, which was really cool. If I knew my boss was wrong about a specific fact, how would you handle it? Um, Honestly, I'd probably just go with it since they're my boss. If we didn't have a great relationship, I would just go with it. If we did have a good relationship, I would probably take them to the side and say, "Hey, like, I think you might be off on this topic. Maybe this is what I heard." Um, so that's what I would do. A difficult decision that I've made recently was, hmm, I don't know. That's a really good question. I think a difficult decision that I've made recently was whether I wanted to go to grad school or not. That really was a big decision for me, and I ended up applying to grad school. So that was really cool. So a time where I had to make a relatively quick decision, in veterinary work, you always have to make quick decisions. We had a dog thrashing on the floor with a toenail that had come off. And so I just decided to grab gauze really quickly and like kind of like jump onto the dog and grab its foot. Um, and I ended up getting the bleeding to stop, which was really awesome. So my mother and I, we are very different people, and we do things very differently. So I would think that whenever we work together, we both do things very differently. And we kind of just have to take it day by day whenever we are working together. I'll kind of put my input in, she'll put her input in, and we end up getting the job done by just listening to each other. I made a mistake pretty recently. I put the wrong oil in my car, and I was very forthcoming with it because, cars are a big deal and they're expensive. So I took it straight to the shop and I was like, "Look, I accidentally put the wrong oil in my car. I don't know what we need to do, but um how can we get this fixed?" An interpersonal conflict between you and another team member and between two other members. How would your approach differ? So between me and another team member, I think I would take them to the side and talk to them and be like, "Hey, like this is going on. This is how I feel." Um, and then if it was between two other team members, I mean, it's not my position to mediate their problems, but if I were, I'd probably take them each aside and be like, "Hey, what's going on? Like, can you tell me a little bit about what happened? Maybe we can resolve this." Maybe even go to my boss and be like, "Hey, these two team members are having a hard time. Like, um let's see if we can work it out together." So, a group project when another team member did not complete his or own part. Well, I ended up just doing the part, and I dealt with this by just doing it myself and then just giving them a pad peer review. Um, but the end results were we had a pretty awesome project, which was awesome. So, yep, that's it. Thank you so much for listening.